Heather Tallchief fled in an armored truck loaded with millions of dollars from a Las Vegas casino in 1993, and she was not apprehended until 12 years later when she turned herself in. Many Americans mark their 21st birthdays by legally purchasing alcohol for the first time. However, when Heather Tallchief turned 21, she had even greater and more unlawful plans. After obtaining work for an armored security company in Las Vegas, she stole $3.1 million from a casino and spent the following 12 years on the run. Heather Tallchief became one of America's most wanted women after committing a daring heist in 1993. Despite having the FBI on her trail, she was only charged in 2005, and not because she was apprehended, but because she stepped into a federal courthouse and surrendered herself. The 32-year-old then claimed that her lover, Roberto Solis, had brainwashed her using sex, drugs, and magic, and that she complied with his criminal instructions almost like a robot. Whether such stories are real or not, Heather Tallchief's daring casino theft is almost too incredible to believe. So let's dive deep into this interesting story, Heather Tallchief's troubled childhood. Heather Tallchief was a natural-born Seneca, an indigenous group of Native Americans who lived in upstate New York before the American Revolution. Tallchief, born in 1972, grew up in modern-day Williamsville, Buffalo, and faced challenges such as bullying from a young age. Her parents were teenagers when she was born, and they parted when she was a toddler. Tallchief was publicly disliked by her father's next partner, and she was also excluded from Williamsville South High School. Her father's home was rife with drugs and alcohol, and Tallchief eventually gravitated toward punk music and crack cocaine. She relocated to San Francisco in 1987 to live with her mother and eventually received a general equivalency diploma. Tallchief became a licensed nursing assistant and worked in Bay Area clinics for 4 years before being fired due to her increased cocaine addiction. She met Roberto Solis in a nightclub in 1993 when she was at her lowest point. Solis was born in Nicaragua and fatally shot an armored car guard during an attempted heist in front of a San Francisco Woolworths in 1969. While serving a life sentence, he wrote critically praised poetry books under Pancho Aguila, and his fan base successfully petitioned for his release in 1991. He was reformed, Tallchief later told the New York Times. He wrote poetry. I knew his mother. He was a very normal person. If you sat down and met him, you would probably actually enjoy him. You would laugh at his jokes. You would think he was a nice person. There was never anything about him that you would think he was a heinous, horrible, murdering con. Tallchief seemed taken away when she visited the apartment, as Roberto Solis had a goat's head, crystals and tarot cards on an altar. He asked if she believed in the devil, and then provided her with cocaine. After convincing her that sex magic could bring them all the financial resources they needed, he began training her to fire AK-47s. Now moving on, let's take a look at how Roberto Solis and Tallchief pull off their unbelievable heist. Heather Tallchief met Roberto Solis when she was young, unfocused, and spiritually unfulfilled. At the same time, her new partner was 27 years older and had much experience influencing others. Tallchief agreed to accompany him to Las Vegas in the summer of 1993, feeling a renewed sense of trust and security. When the couple moved to Nevada, Solis continually convinced Tallchief to work at Loomis Armored. Of course, this was a step to his master plan. The company regularly transported millions of dollars in cash between Las Vegas casinos and ATMs. In the meantime, he was showing her unusual VHS tapes, which Tallchief remembered as having lots of swirling colors like a tie-dye t-shirt. When Loomis Armored recruited Tallchief as a driver, Solis made her memorize a comprehensive map of where to go and what to do. Tallchief drove the armored van to the Circus Hotel and Casino at 8 a.m. on Friday, October 1st. Tallchief, Scott Stewart, and another courier were to drive the van from one casino to the next, refilling their depleted ATM machines with cash. Stewart said that the van was filled from about a third of the way from the front of the vehicle all the way to the back. Circus was their initial destination. Tallchief drove away as her other couriers exited the van carrying money bags for the casino. She was supposed to return to the Circus 20 minutes later, but never did. Stewart assumed Heather had been kidnapped after criminals robbed the van, especially when he was unable to reach her via radio. He instantly contacted his supervisor. That's when Las Vegas Police Sergeant Larry Dewis and FBI agent Joseph Dushek stepped in and collected security footage from the casino. They discovered that nobody had broken into the van and Talchief had taken it herself. When they arrived at her and Solis's apartment, it was empty and the $3.1 million had vanished. Talchief drove to a garage she had leased under a false identity, where Solis was preparing to put the cash into bags and boxes. They initially headed to Denver, then briefly hid in Florida and the Caribbean. Talchief got dressed herself as an elderly woman in a wheelchair, and the couple arrived in Amsterdam. Talchief had intended to settle on a farm and put all her worries behind, but instead found herself working as a hotel maid. She would question Solis about the money, to which he would usually respond, "Don't worry about it. I'm taking care of it. It's okay. It's safe. I've got it under control." Saying no to him wasn't an option, Talchief said. Heather Talchief turns herself in and explains why she did so. Solis gradually began to ignore Talchief and moved an array of other ladies into their home. Talchief recalls feeling like, "I don't want to live anymore. I got to get away because I wanted to have the opportunity to at least have this child." Solis gave Talchief and their son a few $1,000s after breaking up. She temporarily worked as an escort and then as a hotel maid. When her son was 10, she found a new identity and returned to the United States on September 12, 2005, via Los Angeles International Airport as Donna Eaton. After 12 years on the run from authorities, she surrendered before a Las Vegas courthouse. Talchief admitted to being involved in the heist and informed officials that she hadn't seen Solis in years. She believed that selling the rights to her narrative would allow her to repay Loomis Armored. On March 30, 2006, she was sentenced to 63 months in federal prison and forced to repay Loomis $2,994,083.83 prior to her death. She was released in 2010. Her son Dylan has since graduated from college and is a YouTuber and producer. Roberto Solis and the remaining cash were never found. This case is an illustration of both human brilliance and vulnerability. That has brought us to the end of this video. Let's meet again with another interesting video.